Guys, it's been a long time coming, but I'm proud to announce that my hands are finally registered with the International Registry of Lethal Hands. This is the only place where your God-given gifts of danger can get the recognition that they truly deserve. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would anybody need to register their hands as lethal? Let me break it down for you. There are those among us whose hands are so downright dangerous, they need to be documented. Registration is a moral responsibility, and it's a vote for the greater good of humanity. The sole mission of the International Registry for Lethal Hands is to catalog the most formidable hands on the planet. So if you know someone, and you even suspect they possess lethal hands, do not hesitate. Register them immediately. And if you've ever looked at your own hands and thought, damn, these dogs are dangerous, don't settle. Go register. Head over to registeryourhands.com, fill out a simple form, and you're official. Remember, use the promo code Chael to save 20%, or just click on the link below. There's really not three options once you find success. There's really two, which is success leads you and springboards you into more. It actually gives you a confidence. It gives you a motivation. You like the taste that you got and you want more. Now that's rare. That does happen, but that's actually the rare of the two. The other one is, I've made it. I did it. They call it resting on your laurels, which just means being satisfied with what you've already done. And that's the most common. It's a very difficult thing, and guys will word it in different ways, and they'll go, well, yeah, I was out there trying to defend a belt instead of trying to win a belt, and that's just because they're stupid. They're not good with the words, right? They don't know how to express what they're going through, but the real truth is, I've already been there, I've done that, and getting remotivated to climb a mountain I've already climbed for anybody is difficult, okay? Now, one of the great stories ever. I mean, truly one of the great stories in the history of competition has to do with a wrestler at Oklahoma State University. He's now the head coach at Wyoming, but his name's Mark Branch. And Mark Branch went into the NCAA tournament with 8 wins and 7 losses, or it was 7 wins and 8 losses. I've actually never been cleared on that because I've heard the story told both ways. I think he had a winning record. I think it was 8 and 7. But I've heard other people say he actually had a losing record of 7 and 8. He won the NCAA tournament. Okay, great. Incredible story, right? Incredible story. Caught some guys on their back, whatever. Well, no, that's not the story of Mark Branch. In fact, the story doesn't work if it ends right there. The only reason the story gets told is because then he was in the finals of every NCAA tournament he had left. He never was less than the fight. He repeated as champion. To win a championship, he beat the guy that won the Olympic gold medal. And it was just one of these things where you go, hey, you give a guy, even you give a 50-50 guy, you give him a national championship and things are going to change. You just don't know which way. All right. Dricus du Plessis strikes me as the more rare of the two, which is rising to the occasion. The more rare of the two, which is I've got a taste of it and it's what I wanted and I'm not done. And that's hard to do, but he does strike me as that type. And the guys who have fought Dricus and then come out and do interviews, all the way down to Robert Whittaker. I didn't know what a hard fight Whittaker was in. I thought as a viewer it was a weird fight. It was a little harder than Whittaker knew, and Dricus caught him in this weird headlock, and that changed the position. Like things just got weird, and I remember thinking that when it was over. Like, wow, that's a great win. That's a surprising outcome. What a weird match. I remember thinking that. And Whittaker did an interview, and Whittaker gave him his flowers, that they say. And that's not the way he saw it at all. He said, man, that guy's bigger than people are aware. That guy goes harder. He's meaner. His will. Guys that fight Yuri Prohaska will talk about this. Guys that fight Yuri, we can't see on TV. They will talk about the will that they can feel. His will to win. His will to push through. His will to stay on you. To not wilt. Not give up. We can't really see that from home, but the guys that fight him will come and tell you about that, and that's very similar with Dricus. Now, it's a bit of a complicated spot. Like, we don't have to close our eyes and try to imagine what would happen if Dricus and Strickland fight. We don't have to do that. We've already seen them fight. We already know. He can beat him and he can beat him. And this part might go your way and this part is going to go your way. It was a very strange fight to watch. Now, I am unapologetically a Sean Strickland supporter. That's a teammate, training partner of mine. I will just tell you candidly, I believed Sean lost all 5 rounds. Now, they were razor thin, and when they were over, it's kind of, okay, who won that round? But Dricus was my answer, and Dricus was my answer 5 times. So, it came out to a split decision. And Sean Strickland saying, that's a screw job. I beat him. And that surprised me. And a lot of you thought the same thing and said, man, that was the wrong call. And one licensed judge agreed with you, right? I mean, that was a really close fight. I thought it was a close fight, too. I just thought it was Dricus. And I got to be real objective about that. I got to be real fair. Because I would like to see Sean reverse that. The problem is they already fought once, and I think Dricus is better today. That's a problem. They already did it once. I have very good evidence that Dricus is better today. However, so is Strickland. I have never seen somebody lose their title. In fact, the number one guy that ever lost his title and wanted it back, I mean, his life was over. Oh, he couldn't even see straight. He needed that belt so back. The number one guy was Mark Coleman. When Mark lost the belt to Maurice Smith, you couldn't even make sense with him. And that was the number one guy that I've ever seen that got a motivation from a loss and wanted something back so bad until Strickland. And what Strickland was willing to go through to get here, Imanov, for goodness sakes, Paulo Costa, do you understand how difficult those asks are? You understand how few people would have did it? Strickland did it for 5 rounds apiece and no guarantee on the back end. He did not care who you were going to bring. They weren't just words of him pounding his chest and wanting his belt back. He was willing to take action anytime somebody wanted that heat. And it was a very inspiring thing to see. And you want to know why? What you think Strickland is, he is. I mean, when you think he's doing an interview going, I don't care about this or I do care about this, that's not an act. If he tells you he doesn't care about something, that it's just true. And he didn't care about that belt. He truly did not care about that belt. He had a problem with Izzy. He wanted to fight Izzy. He's trying to get a title shot. Like, all of those things are true. But you could have taken the belt out of that equation. Strickland would have gone out to Australia and gotten into a fisticuffs, believe me. So the belt was just kind of one of these things. And that was real. Till they took it from him. It's very interesting the way this is going down, because I do admit Dricus is better now. I do admit, I mean, I could see it in the Izzy fight. But come on, you remember what Sean Strickland did with Paulo Costa? He beat him up for 25 straight minutes. Do you remember what was on the line when he had to go in there against Imanov, who nobody knew who he was? They just kept calling this Russian guy. Sean's a former world champion. He's got to go deal with this Russian guy. Walked right out there and did it. Thought he was going to have to go through Chimaev, was getting ready to walk out there and do it. I mean, I'm just sharing for you, like hunger does matter. Hunger's a real thing. There's things that you will hear in the sport, and they're completely fake. Confidence. You must believe in yourself. No, you don't. It'd be better if you didn't, in fact. Right? Effort would be way rather have that for your athlete. An athlete that's going to try the entire time, who wants something, is way better than confidence. Confidence is a scam. But I'll just share for you. I think Dricus has gained a confidence. And as much as I'm telling you it's a skate, it's still a real word. It's still a thing. But Strickland has gained a hunger. And that's not the guy Dricus fought last January. Dricus did not fight this guy that he thinks he's going to see next week. This is a different guy. I will admit for you, Dricus is also different. But you're going to have confidence versus hunger. So before you go over to DraftKings and you place your bet, you decide, which do you put a higher value on? Confidence or hunger?